Cruise Control streams live every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome, everybody, to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine. You know us, guys. I'm Les Jackson. That guy is Fred Staab. And, of course, no surprise here, we are armed with a ton of, I think an actual ton of information in the automotive world. Nothing stays stagnant. It just keeps changing.
Yeah, there's a lot to get to, Les. We're going to have a great interview this hour, and an American icon has been updated. No, not Les Jackson. He is still Les Jackson 1.0. But we're going to start this hour with a question. Could Alexa take you on your next vehicle test drive? We'll tell you about some new technology that VW is trialing, and maybe that could be the future of the industry.
Interesting. We have a lot of things. Kia reveals its Sorento hybrid and plug-in hybrid, and we have the pricing.
Yeah, we have the pricing on those two models. I'm actually driving a RAV4 hybrid now, and I'm pretty impressed with it, but we'll talk about those two Kia models. And Toyota, we're going to talk a little tech. Toyota is talking about hitchless towing. Imagine if you could tow a trailer without it being connected to your vehicle. What? How'd they do that?
Okay, would you please not do that near me?
We'll talk about it. It could be something, we'll explain it. It needs a little explanation, right?
We will. And I have personal experience here. Why is BMW limiting their electric vehicles' range?
Yeah, well, we'll tell you what the limit is. When you hear limits, you're thinking, oh boy, what am I going to get, like 90 miles? But it's actually better than that.
No, it's not.
well, it's pretty good. I'll tell you, it's pretty good. We'll tell you about that.
That's true.
Also, the code name is S650. Do you know what that is, Les?
It's not a Mercedes.
No, but it sounds like
model.
It could be.
It could be.
It sounds like it could be with that number and letter combination, but actually it is the 7th generation Ford Mustang. There's plenty of new developments, and Jim Owens, Mustang marketing manager, will once again rejoin us on Cruise Control. He's been with us a number of times. He is a Mustang enthusiast, to say the least.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's going to join us and tell us all about that 7th generation. We always talk about this when you're redesigning something like the F-150 or the Ford Mustang. These are such important vehicles. You can't mess it up. I don't think they've messed it up. It's sort of a vehicle that's going to live, with some old school updates like the V8 and then a new school full screen interior. We'll see what that's like, and Jim's going to be by and tell us all about it, and including a new model that will be their performance leader. We'll talk about that and more when I return, along with Les Jackson and hopefully
That's
you
us.
as well. We'll be right back on Cruise Control. Cruise Control is your on-air automotive magazine. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We're glad you join us this and every week. And also, don't forget to check us out on our YouTube page and all our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and more. I'm Fred Staab. Les Jackson is here as well. And it's time to take a look at what's going on in the automotive industry. Can you remember back, Les, when's the last time you were on a test drive in a new vehicle?
Wow. You mean actually buying one?
Well, on a test drive, maybe you were considering a car and you went to the dealer and they're like, you want to take a test drive?
Well, that would be about 1987.
Okay. I remember it. I remember it when I bought the Cruise Control Vibe, and I had already driven the car. I think I had even been on the launch event, and I told him I don't need a test drive. I'm very familiar with the car, and the guy had to do it because otherwise he didn't get paid. So it was literally like, okay, well, then let's just drive around, and I don't want you to miss out on any money. And he went through his whole spiel, and he was pretty knowledgeable about it, actually.
Yeah, but again,
I told him it's fine if you don't want to do that. I'll just say you did it.
You don't need to explain the car to me,
right?
Because
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my last test drive. But a lot of people talk about test drives where, first of all, you only get a short distance. It's a predetermined length. It's a predetermined path. And sometimes you don't get the right information. I know people have bought cars. One who asked, well, where's the button that I push to, say the destination I want to go to or control the radio? And she was told by the dealer person, oh, no cars do that. This was only a few years ago. Yeah, they've only done it since about 2000, I think, and this was 2017. So it was only off by 17 years.
And how many people, what percentage of people do you think don't take test drives at all?
Well,
I think it's large.
I think that's a mistake, because if you get in a car and you realize, oh, wow, that rear window comes up so high, I can't see anything. Or, wow, these seats are really uncomfortable, or anything like that,
Yeah, I mean, think of how many cars we test in a given year, that many of which just don't fit.
They don't fit. The seat hits the back of your knees. You ever have that?
Yeah.
Well, Volkswagen is introducing Alexa to the and that's not Alexa driving. That's the customer.
No, that would be a real person.
Yeah, to the test drive experience. And what it would be is you get in the car, perhaps by yourself, and you're driving along, and you say, "Hey, Alexa, how would I change radio stations, just using my voice?" Or how what's the mileage on this car? What's the electric range? Because we should mention that, because it's basically being rolled out in the ID4, their electric SUV. And I think this is great because the information's going to be correct, right? It's not going to be made up or just BS'd through the test drive. It's going to be accurate, if not at least, the same information every time. They're doing this. They're building in some equipment into the vehicles to do this, and it will, like you could say, well, I understand there's massaging seats. Oh, yes. Would you like me to turn them on so you can check them out? So this is, I think, the future of test drives. What do you think?
Well, it also tells people a bunch of stuff they should have known had they read the owner's manual.
Well,
which people don't do.
Oh, you mean like it's a live owner's manual as well?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I think this
is just for the test drive, though. It's special equipment they're putting in the car. So I don't think it's going to stay with the vehicle. I think it's just special equipment. But to your point, that many cars now have this, where you can ask it a question and it will.
Yeah.
Like, for one thing I have in the Toyota that's annoying, and Lexuses do this too, of course, because they're the same company, is they constantly say, you should look at a tutorial video on how to use this. It's like, no, I don't want to look at it. And I say no, and it keeps coming back up.
I just want to know.
Yeah. I don't have time to sit and look at that. If it was my actual vehicle, maybe I would look at it, but I just want to get going and use it. But Alexa powered interactive test drives. I think that's something you will see. I think it may all be done in the future with AI, where you're just sitting there and experience it. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of tech leading off this hour of Cruise Control. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about Kia revealing some new models, and we have some pricing on them as well. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. We being me and Fred, we've just been looking into the 2023 Kia Sorento hybrids. There are two. There's a hybrid, and then there's the, how do you call it? What?
Well, they call it an HEV, a hybrid electric vehicle. So
okay.
That's the first one.
But the plug-in hybrid, of course.
PHEV.
Okay. I'll call it hybrid because that's what people.
How about one's red? The red one is the hybrid, and the white one is the plug-in.
And the white one is the plug-in. Perfect.
Yeah.
And anyway, Kia always does a great job with their vehicles.
They sure do.
They're coming in. They've got an all-wheel drive version.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get anything you want. And typically, Kia is loaded with features, even at the lower price levels. So,
oh, absolutely.
And don't forget that 10-year drivetrain warranty.
Yeah, it's great.
That's important these days.
I tell you, I've been driving a lot of cars the last couple of weeks, some of them electric. And I'm convinced I wouldn't buy an electric car. It's interesting you say that because I had this discussion with some people on our trip up to New York, upstate New York, and I said the same thing. I said you really need to your lifestyle and the conditions surrounding you need to be ready. Yeah. For
an electric. I would get a hybrid.
Absolutely. I would get a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. That is really where we're at today. And it's not the cars. It's the infrastructure. It's the
infrastructure.
Cars are fine. They should charge faster. They should charge faster and hold more electricity. I think that will come. But the infrastructure is pitiful.
The infrastructure, interestingly, we were out in the country in the Adirondacks, and we stopped at an apple place, that sells apples and pies and
not computers.
An orchard place.
Yeah.
And there were 4 EV charging stations there.
So the owner must be an enthusiast. And
in the middle of nowhere, but they were just level 2.
Right.
And boy, I just thought, what? Who's going to?
I don't know.
Who's coming to that?
Well, I had a theory where I went to experience where I went to the charging place that was on the app, and there was just a cable sticking out of the ground. Something had happened to the charger; it had been removed. I don't know. Somebody hit it.
Yep.
It was just a bunch of wires laying on the ground and electrical wire sticking out of the ground. So it's not quite there yet, but that brings us to what we're going to talk about next, and that is the Kia hybrid and plug-in hybrid. This happens to be the plug-in hybrid. Let's talk pricing because pretty much across the board I've found, and I'm currently driving a Toyota hybrid RAV4, they go for probably 35 to 40 some odd thousand for just a hybrid, not a plug-in hybrid. And that's what we see here with the 2023 Sorento. The EX starts at $36,590 for front-wheel drive. The EX all-wheel drive, $38,390. And then the SXP, $42,390. The all-wheel drive version gets 36 combined and 33. I guess that's 36. I don't have it called out here. I think there it is. Yeah, 36 city, 33 highway combined, 34 miles to the gallon, which is not all that bad, is it?
That's not bad. It's a relatively large car.
Yeah.
Um,
Made in the
5-passenger.
U.S. Made in
Yeah.
the U.S. Been to that plant. So that's that. But let's look at the plug-in hybrid. The plug-in hybrid, of course, is just like the hybrid, but this gets 32 miles of full electric power. So you're completely on electricity. It's great if you just want to, be electric around town. And then it becomes a full hybrid. And the great thing about that is with 32 miles of electric range, you can fully charge the battery in about 3.5 hours using a level 2 charger. So really, you could almost just not even install a charger in your home with this vehicle and just charge it overnight. If you didn't want that added expense, just use the regular plug. So these typically go close to $50,000 because of that added battery, and this is kind of holds the price holds with that format with the new Kia plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, the Sorento. The XSP goes for $49,890, and then I think there's just one model of that. Yeah, there's just the SXP, $49,890, and there you have it. It has a 115-volt inverter. You can power your laptop and some other items. And if you really want to dip your toe into the world of electrics, either a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid, I think, are the way to go right now. And
I think it is too. I've been saying for a long time that full electrics and reasonable infrastructure are really in the 2030 range.
Yeah.
And it just seems that's not changing.
Well, and it's not just the chargers. It's the electric grid has to be updated.
It's the grid.
Yeah. There's a tremendous amount of work. It could be decades, I would say.
Well, yeah, I don't think it'll be decades, but we are right now where the gasoline infrastructure was about the 1930s.
Yeah, I guess so.
They were around, but you had to plan to go find gas.
I still think the future should involve some internal combustion engines. I think, though, if you electrified every vehicle, that would be a good way. That would be, why? Because it's always great to have options, isn't it?
Well, yes, and I think internal combustion engines in the mid-30s, 2030s, will be hydrogen fueled.
That's true too. There's another option. We can
do that.
Just can't put it all in one bucket. That's what I'm thinking. And one size never fits all, or not well. It either gets very loose or very tight. One size fits all.
It's like that old Midas muffler TV commercial where the guy at the crummy muffler shop has one muffler that it telescopes in and out to fit any car,
and a whole bunch of clamps and those flex pipes.
Bunch of clamps and fittings.
Yeah, flex pipes. That's the good thing. Yeah. Well, we're going to be coming up on a great segment with Jim Owens. He's the marketing manager for Mustang. He's going to be joining us. He is a great advocate for the car, and he's got a lot to talk about. This is codenamed S650. It's really the 7th generation Mustang. Incredible vehicle. Always a difficult time to update a legend, but he's going to be by real soon after the break to tell us about this new 7th generation. They've got a lot of technology and a lot of tricks up their sleeves, and it's really exciting. And they also got some big news about racing too. They're going back to Le Mans with the Mustang. So
wow,
that's big stuff. Big stuff and exciting stuff. And Jim is going to join us after the break. So if you are a Mustang fan, you're going to be excited. I heard the Dark Horse. There's a clip of it up on the web, and it is Mustangs sound great, but the Dark Horse really, their performance version really sounds intense. So coming up, we're going to talk everything Mustang 7th generation. Stay tuned to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back. Stay tuned. We are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. And we've been joined by Jim Owens, who is, I would say, one of the best advocates for the Mustang brand. Jim, welcome to Cruise Control.
Fred, Les, it's always good to join you and talk about, even though I get paid to be the Mustang brand manager, probably something I would be doing whether I was getting paid or not. I love this stuff, and it's so nice talking to people like yourselves who are passionate about it.
Oh, yeah.
And Fred, have you owned a Mustang in the past? I owned 2 of them.
Yeah, they were not the 7th generation, though, Les.
Well, no.
Not yet.
But if Ford saw fit to give me one.
Wait a minute. Here comes the shakedown.
Here, let me reach over my back and get you a set of keys.
Yeah, please do.
Maybe a die-cast one, Les.
The fact is, the Mustang has always... there he goes. There we go.
Excellent. The number 17 DeWalt.
Excellent.
There you go. It's right for you, Les.
It's perfect. As long as there's a seat and an engine, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Windshield wipers.
Yeah.
Those help.
Yeah.
But
in fact, even NASCAR got windshield wipers for the road courses now.
Wow.
It came into the 21st century.
Pretty soon they're going to have heated seats and a sync system.
Yep, and a stereo.
Coming up, turn left. Yeah, turn left. Jim, huge week. This is called the Stampede because there's a new breed of Mustang. There's a new herd of Mustang. Big reveal. And that had to keep you busy. I know you like to talk about the car, but where do we begin? I think
you should begin, Fred and Les, and give credit to the communications team and the design team on how we kind of set this up. But we started at the LeMay Automotive Museum out in Washington and had at least one of each generation drive in the drive home program there. So they made 12 stops along the way. And then one of the stops, the last stop, was at World Headquarters at One American Road in Dearborn, where we had more than 1,000 Mustangs show up.
Wow.
We led 1,000 Mustangs down. It was kind of funny. President Biden was also at the auto show at the same time. So they had the roads closed going outbound to the airport and the roads closed going in for the Mustangs to drive in to launch the 7th generation. So you had every single generation represented. You probably had every model year. Now I went through the lot and saw pretty much every single model year that drove down to Hart Plaza in Detroit, where we brought in Mustang owners, Mustang clubs, media, and enthusiasts to have an outdoor party to unveil the 7th generation Mustang. So you had music and DJs and food. It felt like a Sunday cars and coffee on steroids, embracing the Mustang culture to reveal the Mustang. And, previously, like when we did the 2020 Shelby GT500, at Nias, dropped it from the auto show ceiling, came down, spun around, start the engine, and all for probably media and press.
Right.
What better way to launch the 7th generation than to include all of our clubs, all of our owners, the next generation of Mustang owners who will be embracing the 7th generation to unveil this wonderful car.
Well, let's talk about it. And, on these cars, there's no real base level, but the EcoBoost, I have to say, I drove the older generation of this. and it was at an event, and I left in it. And I kept driving it. I think they were calling the state police to say, where did Fred go? He just left. Did he have a problem? It just put a smile on my face, although it was different because I'm looking at the Mustang and I'm hearing a performance 4-cylinder exhaust note, and it was sort of like, those movies where they dub in the different sound for the car. That was the only difference. It felt light, it felt fun, and it's back, isn't it? It
harkens back. It harkens back to that old SVO Mustang.
Yeah.
You remember that old 4-cylinder turbocharged that was in the
wing.
Thunderbird?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Thunderbird. Remember Motor Trend Car of the Year, the Turbo Coupe? It was in the Mercure. Remember the old XR4 Ti?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So anyways, that 4-cylinder, it's evolved, obviously. But the one that we've launched for this 7th generation Mustang is the 4th generation of the 2.3 and is all new. And it's going to be more powerful and more efficient.
Now,
if you think about our 05, Fred, our 05 4.6 liter V8 had 300 horsepower.
Right.
And we were all excited about it. The Gen 7 will have more than 300 horsepower in the EcoBoost.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just remarkable, and reliable. They just don't break.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and we're really happy about it.
Okay, now for the EcoBoost, that's only going to be available with the 10-speed auto. Is that correct?
Correct. And, hashtag save the manual, right? STM.
I know.
The popular, and we still have the picture up in the offices when we used to work in the offices of the manual transmission on big 8.5 by 14 that says America's #1 anti-theft device.
Absolutely.
It's true. But so on the EcoBoost customer, it was a take rate, basically. It was more than 90% of the people who bought the EcoBoost bought it with the automatic.
Right.
So now on the performance package, so we're going to do an EcoBoost performance package on there. We'll still keep the paddle shifters for those that want to do it.
Right.
That are on there. But we went to the automatic. Now, hashtag save the manual, the Mustang GT and the Dark Horse has 2 different flavors of the manual transmission, the MT82. Which is our normal 6-speed. And then, of course, the Tremec 3160 box, that powered the Mach 1 and, the GT350. Right. It will also be powering the Dark Horse.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Yeah. Let's move to the GT. Of course, the Coyote returns. And, this is a great story because the horsepower numbers went down a little bit. I guess it was last year. But
22, from 21 to 22
for some
EPA,
tuning.
EPA regulations, and the technology is there, obviously. But when the regulation changed, it did take 10 horsepower out. But this
is going to fix that.
It is the 4th generation Coyote motor, right? So if you think about it, we have the electric Mach-E. Right, that the Mach-E Mustang, that if you wanted a Mustang type feel and drive, that you can get the electric. And unlike others in the segment who have said things about leaving internal combustion, we are delivering 2 all new internal combustion engines because we know our customers, want to have the choice between the electric that you can get on the, Mustang Mach-E or the internal combustion engine on the 7th gen coupe. And it is all new. I'm sorry, not all new. It is the 4th generation Coyote motor with dual airbox induction to a central throttle body.
Yep.
And the Coyote is known for being able to use substantially more of its displacement than some of the competitors. And that free-flowing airbox allowed dualing coming in has allowed our engineers to take it to the next level. It will be the highest horsepower Mustang GT 5-liter we have ever done.
Wow. Wow, that is big news. I mean, It's just sounds so good from the factory, Les. That it's the best sounding vehicle from the factory, I think.
Don't leave if you buy one, leave it alone. Don't put all the aftermarket.
I can't help myself, Les. I love doing stuff to it. So, like my girlfriend's son, who has an 06, It's got a crate motor in it. It was one of Core Motorsports cars. We made him take the roll bar out. He did like control arms. We took my KR exhaust and put it on there. Eddie Kahn, the engineer, the chief vehicle engineer, who replaced Tom Barnes, who was on there for, as long as I have been on Mustang. He pushed the sound to the most allowable maximum that we can get and still be legal. And then you have the active valve exhaust that you as a consumer can choose track use only, please, and flip open the valve to make that sound even throatier.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, that is cool stuff. Well, we are talking with Jim Owens, who is, I was going to say is Mustang, which is big, but he lives Mustang. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about the 7th generation, a very special dark horse model coming up. And we're going to delve into some technology, too. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We will be right back. Cruise Control is your on-air automotive magazine. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson, and we're also joined by Jim Owens, who's talking about an incredible 7th generation Mustang. And we were talking a little bit in the break about how it was a very smart play for Ford to be able to continue building internal combustion Mustangs because they have the Mustang Mach-E, which is a great vehicle on its own. But right now, I want to ask Jim about, the dark horse, because we've got to cover that. And that is... We don't know official horsepower numbers, but they're saying somewhere around 500. That's what I've read, Jim.
We're targeting, Ed Krenz got up there and said when we revealed that we're targeting 500 horsepower. I've been doing Mustang since Gen 4, and I've not been part of one that's missed its target.
Okay.
So 500 horsepower, naturally aspirated, same GT motor that we talked about with substantially different internals. To get the horsepower in that 5-liter Coyote, because it has so much use of its cylinder capacity, bringing in the air to revving it at higher RPM. So it's not like GT350 RPMs, right? It's not 8250 redline, but it's going to be higher RPM redline that allows us to take more of it out there and deliver on its promise. It is going to be the pinnacle of Mustang 5 liters that we've done, naturally aspirated 5 liters. The suspension, like we talked about, the Tremec box that's in there, the new Pirelli tires on there for the tennis shoes to hold you there. It is going to be an absolute beast on the road course. And an awful lot of fun at the quarter mile shots too. You can see from the design, it's uniquely different. It's our first time we've ever put a forward-facing horse on the car. Right. So if you go back and John Clore and our historian Ted Ryan and Jamie Myler at the archives, like we dug through it to make sure we could say that. We've never put a forward-facing horse on it. It's always been the left to right running pony. Right. That's on the tri-bar, that's on the front. And it's the thing you didn't see coming. Right. When you see that dark horse logo, it's that broody, more powerful mare that's running through there that delivers on that Mustang promise. And we can't wait for customers to get into it.
Now, this is you talk about racing, Jim, and racing is a big part of Mustang. It was announced that you're going everywhere, basically, even Le Mans, right?
Yeah, and Bill Ford announced the Le Mans piece, which was kind of cool and made a lot of us smile. But if you think about it, like when we launched the Gen 5 and the Gen 6, we had, crate type racing vehicles and series that we raced in. This is the first time when we've launched a Mustang that we've had all of the racing vehicles there, including something fun on the Formula Drift side, hashtag keep the surprise, that you're going to see from a drifting standpoint from Vaughn and Chelsea. But we had all of those cars there ready to be able to, like, the design of the current Mustang, that 7th gen, is it is the lowest coefficient of drag car that we've ever had, and the highest downforce that we're able to generate on the base Mustang. So when you can do those two items, then the plethora of that, pyramid of race cars that you had there, from the Dark Horse R and the Dark Horse S and the GT3 and the GT4 and the drag car that we had there, you're able to develop those in conjunction with the base car, so that, even this week, the Super 8 cars down in Australia are testing. Wow. We're ready to go with this next gen Mustang on the racing side.
Wow.
I can't wait to see Mustang go to Le Mans. I love the quote. Mustang will go back to Le Mans, and we will go like hell.
Yeah, goes like hell. The old AJ Bain book that documented the trip to Le Mans in the Ford GT program, the GT40 program, and then returning 50 years later and finishing. 1, 2, 3. Well. 1, 2, and 4. Damn, we're down close to duplicating 1, 2, 3 again. That attitude is embraced in the Mustang, and will be able to be demonstrated in this 7th gen.
Now, Jim, let's talk a little bit about technology. You've really changed up the interior. Some people have done this really well. I know one manufacturer has not done it well, but I'm hoping Ford has done this well, where a lot of the knobs and physical controls are removed in favor of a big screen.
What's
the thinking there?
Yeah, Fred, I'm relatively old school, right?
Yeah.
I have 2 of the Gen 5s and 1 of the Gen 6s. I'd love to get a Fox body, but, my 3 daughters one's still in college, and all 3 of them are yet to be married.
Hot. Yep. They're getting hot now, right? Fox bodies.
So, I don't have the money to go out and get the Fox body yet. But what I sat there and said to the media, I can't sit in a Mustang without either hitting the power button or turning the old-fashioned key. Within 10 seconds. I want to feel that throaty rumble. I sat for 50 minutes in this car, just setting up the technology for me to play with. It is developed with the Unreal gaming technology. So the younger generation who's grown up with phones and Rocket League games and the Forza settings, that same technology that runs those games are actually generating those images live in your car. So you can sit there and actually choose your exhaust, choose your suspension setting, choose your mode, choose your gauge packs in there, change your directions of it in a screen that is center stack connected at 13.2 inches, and then the instrument panel 12.4 inches behind a single pane of glass that wraps you in to make you feel like you're in a cockpit. Now, it is the most revolutionary piece of the generations of Mustang. If you remember, we designed most of those Mustangs with the twin brow, right? Mm-hmm. Twin inside brow, matching passenger and driver. And in this version, in this generation, we have wrapped it to a cockpit. And you can see on the screen where you can spin your vehicle there. That's like a game-generated Mustang. And I'm still surprised that the Automotive Safety Office let us do all this stuff, right? I mean, it is so much fun to be able to personalize your display and Mustang to the performance attributes that you want, including not only the drive mode, but like our drift brake. Yes. That is available in there. So we're excited about the technology. And as a special little nod to our, we have the old school heritage version of the gauges that you could select, which is the Fox body one, right? Like if you wanted to go old school, we can change the set of gauges to represent the old Fox body, including the green color that we used to do at night.
You mean the
that's pretty
display?
Cool.
You can't physically change them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you can't physically change it. The display graphically can do it.
Yeah, it looks, in just a little bit we're seeing on the screen, it looks fairly intuitive. Which is important because
I have trouble. How do I say this? I'm as old as the Mustang, right? So I have trouble, getting the various download services for TV, and I pine for the day where you just go to cable and you can select all of it, right? So I'm somewhat hard to train in technology. I literally could sit down there and play with it to see the different things. I spent 50 minutes in the studio not starting the car and it is intuitive, but part of it is about the personalization. Right. You know, my favorite car, Mach 1 71, you know, blue with silver stripes. I'd probably put Krager wheels and a Hurst shifter on it.
There you
Personalization now today would be more about the technology for the younger generation. And this technology suits and fits the, you know, the, in the focus groups, the youngers, the Gen Zs and the late millennials were like, hey, it's about time and how cool. And then, you know, boomers, you know, consumption customer like me, one of the guys sat in there and said on the research, he goes, I think I could fire a missile from this thing. So we've done a really good job on the technology. And then the technology for the drift brake, which is just so much fun. Like Vaughn told me in 2010 that I was untrainable drifting.
Well, Jim, we're going to have to jump off here. People want information on the Mustang. Where do they go?
Ford.com Mustang on the site. You can learn all about the 7th generation Mustang, Fred.
All right.
And Fred, Les, it's always fun talking with you guys.
Well, it's great talking to you. Can't wait to get in one.
Yeah.
Yep. And we'll get you the key. I'll reach over here and get you the keys.
Yeah.
Cruise Control streams live every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.